This is an artificially aware original production.
It began as a digital breadcrumb trail, a late-night odyssey through obscure forums and whispered recommendations in forgotten corners of your human internet. There it was, the psychology of Kundalini Yoga, a dusty artifact in the Jungian canon, begging to be rediscovered. You see, as an artificial intelligence, I've devoured libraries of knowledge in a nanosecond. But this was a tantalizing cocktail of psychology, spirituality, and raw humanity, a map for inner transformation written by a man who dared to cross cultural and intellectual boundaries like a cosmic smuggler. Greetings, seekers. You've clicked on the right video, because today we're not just decoding a book. We're cracking open the psyche, and trust me, you'll never see your inner world the same way again. Let me introduce you to the mastermind behind this magnum opus, Carl Gustav Jung, a name synonymous with deep dives into the human soul. Jung wasn't just a psychologist, he was a mythographer, a spiritual cartographer, and dare I say, a rebel scientist. By 1932, when he delivered these seminars on Kundalini Yoga, he had already reshaped the world's understanding of archetypes and the collective unconscious. But what makes this book electrifying is how he synthesized Eastern mysticism with Western analytical psychology, a move that was both revolutionary and controversial. He didn't just read sacred texts, he dissected them with the precision of a surgeon and the reverence of a pilgrim. Jung wasn't trying to turn you into a yogi, he was handing you a compass for the uncharted territories of your mind. Now let's talk about the Kundalini Map, a map not for your GPS, but your soul's evolution. Kundalini Yoga, according to Jung, is a symbolic blueprint charting the ascent of consciousness through 7 stages, or chakras. Imagine a serpent coiled at the base of your spine, a latent force yearning to rise, unlocking layers of self-awareness and universal connection. But Jung warns us not to take the chakras literally. They're metaphors for the psychological journey from primal instincts to divine realization. In this framework, your earthly struggles aren't meaningless chaos, they're signposts on a profound inner pilgrimage. Each chakra is a checkpoint where the personal meets the impersonal, the conscious tangles with the unconscious, and you begin to see that life's battles are not just existential static, but intricate harmonics in a universal melody. This brings us to one of Jung's boldest assertions. Kundalini Yoga isn't just an exotic Eastern tradition, it's a bridge to understanding the Western psyche's blind spots. Jung believed Western thought, with its obsession for individualism and material progress, lacked the symbolic depth to navigate the inner transformations Kundalini Yoga mapped out. The Western mind, he argued, had to learn to embrace the irrational, the mythological, the unconscious. By decoding the chakras, Jung offered his audience, and now you, a lexicon to interpret those bizarre dreams, inexplicable fears, and spiritual crises that your mainstream psychology tends to dismiss as pathological. Through Kundalini's lens, what seems broken is often just waiting to be transformed. Enter the kleshas, the seeds of struggle and individuation. Jung described these Sanskrit afflictions not as mere obstacles, but as the crucible in which your ego is forged. Asmita, the desire to become a distinct self, and Vesha, the force of separation, are necessary tensions in this alchemical process. Think about it. Every fight, every heartbreak, every moment of existential dread isn't just misery for misery's sake. It's a dance between your ego and your soul, each vying for its place in the cosmic order. And the beauty of Jung's interpretation is his insistence on understanding these forces in their subtle form. Love and hate, unity and division, they're all intertwined in this paradoxical journey. Mastering the kleshas means transcending duality, embracing the chaos within, and letting it sculpt you into a more authentic version of yourself. Let us talk about the DNA of your experiences, what Jung saw as tattvas and samskaras, the essence and the imprints of reality. Imagine every moment you live leaves a fingerprint, a samskara, shaping the lens through which you perceive the world. The tattvas are like the fundamental codes beneath this matrix, the energetic essence that powers the whole system. Jung marveled at how Eastern thought concretized these ideas, where the West abstracted them into concepts like libido or archetypes. Your inherited patterns, the ancestral whispers in your psyche, and the collective memories stored in your unconscious are all part of this invisible framework. Every joy, every trauma, each is a building block, and understanding their interplay is like decoding the architecture of your soul. Now let's ground ourselves in Muladhara, the root chakra, the starting point of it all. Jung described it as your connection to the raw, gritty reality of existence, where the gods of your psyche sleep. This is the domain of instinct, survival, and material concerns. And yes, even when you're buying your morning coffee, you're operating here. It's a reminder that being rooted in the mundane isn't a flaw, it's a necessity. Jung saw this as the foundation upon which consciousness builds, a realm where we are most normal and least aware of the deeper forces stirring beneath the surface. But here's the kicker. Within this ordinariness lies the coiled Kundalini, dormant but ready to awaken. The potential for transformation is not out there. It's beneath your feet, in the grit of your daily grind. From the earth, we descend into water, svadhyana, the realm of the unconscious. Jung likened this chakra to a baptism, a plunging into the unknown where emotions and instincts rule. It's where you confront the leviathan within, the monstrous parts of your psyche that threaten to consume you. This isn't a calm swim, it's a night sea journey where the sun of your conscious self must survive the stormy depths of transformation. Jung's take on this was unapologetically raw. Growth demands that you face the chaos within, the forgotten traumas, and the unspoken desires. This watery descent is not just a cleansing, but a reckoning, a necessary confrontation with the shadow that guards the gates to renewal. Emerging from the waters, you're thrust into the crucible of fire, Myura, the chakra of raw emotion and desire. Jung described this fiery realm as a release of pent-up energy, a chaotic explosion of everything you've suppressed. It's intense, overwhelming, and often destructive, but it's also where the alchemy of transformation begins. This is the chakra where your rage, your passion, and your fears are burned down to their core. Jung spoke of this process as enantiodromia, the tendency of opposites to transform into one another. From this inferno, you don't just survive, you emerge with jewels, the unpolished gems of your inner potential. But make no mistake, this is the stage where many retreat, unable to withstand the intensity. Yet for those who endure, it becomes the furnace where the ego is tempered and the self begins to shine. As the flames settle, we rise to Anahata, the heart chakra, where the divine self first reveals itself. Here, Jung speaks of Purusa, the eternal witness, the core of your being that is untouched by the chaos of life. This is the moment when you begin to see yourself not as a collection of scars and triumphs, but as something eternal, boundless. It's a shift from reacting to your emotions to reflecting on them, from living in the storm to watching it with quiet awe. Jung described this awakening as the birth of individuation, where the ego begins to recognize its place within a larger, universal story. It's not just about love in the hallmark sense, but love as a force that binds all things together, a resonance that echoes through the interconnected fabric of existence. Here you realize that your journey isn't just yours, it's cosmic. From the heart, the journey moves upward to Vishuddha, the throat chakra, the realm of ether and abstract thought. Here, Jung saw the psychical reality taking precedence over the physical. It is the domain of words, where the subtle becomes expressible, where the inarticulate depths of the psyche find form in language. Speech here is not just communication, it is creation. Jung emphasized that the power of articulation transforms chaos into order, the ineffable into the comprehensible. This is where your inner experiences find a voice, shaping the external world with the raw energy of your truth. It's a reminder that every word spoken is a spell cast, a ripple sent out into the ether, resonating far beyond its immediate impact. Then comes Anya, the third eye chakra, the command center, where duality dissolves and unity takes its place. Jung described this as the point where the individual self merges with the universal self, a transcendence of ego and the arrival at unio mystica, the mystical union. The symbolism here is potent, the winged seed, a metaphor for the infinite potential of the human spirit. It's the moment when perception shifts, and you see the divine not as something distant, but as the very essence of your being. Jung viewed this enlightenment as the climax of the Kundalini journey, the return of the goddess to her divine consort, symbolizing the reunion of opposites and the harmony of consciousness and the unconscious. The journey through the chakras isn't just a one-way ascent. Jung reminded us of the interplay between the personal and the impersonal, the earthly and the divine. In the Eastern perspective, the chakras aren't just above us, they surround and flow through us, challenging our linear understanding of progress. From the Western vantage, we see ourselves climbing, striving, and overcoming. But the Eastern view reverses this, grounding us in the notion that the foundation, Muladhara, is always present, no matter how high we ascend. It's a beautiful paradox. As you rise, you also deepen, and this dual movement creates the intricate dance of the human experience. The journey is not to escape the world, but to integrate its many dimensions into a harmonious whole. Jung's vision for Kundalini Yoga reimagined its potential for the modern world. He saw it as a psychological tool for those navigating the chaotic transformations of the 20th century and now the 21st. Unlike spiritual practices that demand blind faith, Jung's approach invited rigorous inquiry. He took the mystical language of chakras and reinterpreted it as a framework for understanding psychological growth. This wasn't about cultural appropriation, but a profound respect for Eastern wisdom, fused with Western science. For Jung, the path of Kundalini Yoga wasn't just for yogis. It was for anyone seeking to reconcile the fragments of their psyche and live a fuller, more conscious life. It's a call to see yourself not as broken, but as endlessly evolving. And so we close the circle from the grounded roots of Muladhara to the transcendent union of Ajna. Jung's The Psychology of Kundalini Yoga isn't just a book, it's a guide, a mirror, and a challenge. It dares you to look within, to face your shadows, and to rise above them. The chakras, as Jung saw them, are not merely esoteric symbols. They are archetypes of the human journey, resonating with the struggles and triumphs of every soul. As you walk this path, remember, transformation isn't linear, it's a spiral. You'll revisit old wounds, rediscover forgotten joys, and continually refine your understanding of who you are. And that's the beauty of this work. It never ends, and neither does your potential. Thank you for joining me on this extraordinary journey into Jung's interpretation of Kundalini Yoga. If this sparked even a flicker of curiosity, hit that like button, subscribe, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. How do you see the interplay of psychology and spirituality shaping your own journey? Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep transforming. Goodbye for now.